Hello, welcome back. I'm Juliana and today we're going to be making fudge brownies. So this is one of my all-time favorites to bake because I just do it for fun and it's really simple to make. So our first step is to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. And while that's preheating, we're going to make our brownie batter. So we need 1 cup of unsalted butter and we're going to melt that. But I want to show you how I measure out the butter, especially if you have like the type of butter where it has the measurement thing on the side. So if you need 1 cup of butter, it shows you a 1/4 cup, so it's going to be 4 of those 1/4 cups. And I just take my knife and I mark where that is. So it would be right there. And then I just unwrap it and cut it where I marked it. So if you have a full brick like this, it would just be half the brick. And if you have one of those where it's already individually in sticks, it would be 2 sticks of butter. Okay, and then I'm gonna melt that in the microwave for about 45 seconds. You could also do this on the stove top, but I just find it easier to do in the microwave. Alright, so now our butter is nice and melted and we're going to mix all of our wet ingredients. So I'm going to get a bowl and we're going to mix so the 1 cup of butter, and then we're also going to mix 1 cup of white sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. And when you measure out your brown sugar, make sure that you're like packing it in because otherwise it won't be the correct measurement. So just be aware of that. And then we're also going to mix 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I just use the cap. So like 2 capfuls. And then 4 eggs. Right, and then we're gonna mix that all together. And brownies are also something you don't want to make in a mixer, like a stand mixer or with like a hand mixer, because it actually makes the consistency really dense and cake-like if you do it with a mixer because it over mixes. So this is a really good recipe to do by hand. Okay, so that's all mixed together. And now we're going to do our dry ingredients. So this one, you don't really need a separate bowl to mix your dry ingredients because you're gonna sift it all into your wet ingredients. So I would get like a sifter or one of those hand sifters, or if you want you could just mix it in a bowl and dump it in like that. Okay, so for my dry ingredients I have here 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, and then I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, or actually a little bit less than a teaspoon, probably like 3/4 full. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to sift it into my bowl. And the reason why they sift it in is because cocoa powder can be lumpy sometimes, so you want to get rid of those lumps. Yeah. And so what I do once all the powder has sifted through and I'm left with the lumps, I just take like a spoon or my whisk and I ground it up so it gets rid of all the lumps. Alright, so those are all my dry ingredients, and now I'm going to take my whisk and then whisk it all together. And you make sure not to over mix your batter, so just mix it until it's fully combined. And make sure to get all the edges as well. Okay, so now my batter is pretty thick. as you can see, but that's how we want it. And now we're going to add in our chocolate chips. So we need 1¼ cups of chocolate chips. I'm just using semi-sweet. And at this point you can switch over to a spatula because it becomes easier to mix. And you're going to need it anyways, so you can pour it into your pan. I'm just going to fold it all in there. And I'm also going to make sure to get any powder left on the edges. So using a spatula will also make sure that you're not over mixing it. And you still have that fudgy brownie consistency that you want. So now my batter is all nice and mixed. And I'm going to go ahead and prepare my baking pan. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and spray my pan. You could also use parchment paper for this, but I prefer spray. And then also to your batter, you could add in like different stuff. Like you could add in a teaspoon of espresso powder, which gives a more rich taste, or you could add in walnuts or M&Ms even, whatever you want. So now I'm just gonna pour this in. And this is a 9 by 13 inch pan. You could probably use a smaller pan too. And make sure to get all the edges. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. Okay, so now my batter is all nice and spread out. And it's time to bake it. So you want to bake this for about 23 to 30 minutes. But with brownies, it's kind of hard to tell when it's done because it's already a dark color, so you can't really tell when it's browned. So I would definitely check it with a toothpick, and if it comes out clean, then you know it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and bake it, and I'll see you when it's done. Alright, so our brownies are all done, and I went ahead and cut them and put them on a plate. Before you cut them, or before you take them out, make sure that they're somewhat cooled down so they don't fall apart. And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!